Hey there, Jim Brees here from GreenGrowth CPAs, and today we're going to talk about how to leverage your cannabis space, licenses, and equipment to create another stream of revenue for your cannabis business. Now, it's not always about selling that end product of cannabis, but you can also make money off of all these things you've acquired throughout the process of starting your business. As you know, it's very expensive to start a cannabis business, and some people will pay a premium just to get a taste of the industry, just to test things out and try things out. So today we're going to talk about how to create that kind of deal type for yourself and how to actually price it properly and how to protect yourself. So think about it, this big space that we have here, you can do that same thing for yourself. You probably have a lot of space. How can you bring more people in and make money off that, cover your overhead expenses, and essentially operate in a free way? So if you have any questions about how to do this for your space, then please reach out to GreenGrowth CPAs at greengrowthcpas.com or give us a call at 800-674-9050. Let's jump right into today's presentation. Hey there, Jim Brees here from GreenGrowth CPAs, and today we're going to talk about how to leverage your real estate, assets, and cannabis licenses for better cash flow and diversifying your streams of revenue. And before we hop into today's presentation, I need to let you know that the information in this presentation is meant for guidance purposes only and not as professional legal or tax advice. And further, it does not give any personalized legal, tax, investment, or any business advice in general. So with that out of the way, let's hop into the topics that we will cover today. So first, we're going to talk about the financial struggles of cannabis businesses. Then we'll go into real estate and license opportunities. Then we'll walk through a real life example where you rent out your space and your licenses, similar to what we do for our cannabis co-working space in downtown Los Angeles, and then give you some critical considerations to make sure you don't take on any unnecessary risk. So the cannabis financial struggle. As you know, it takes an enormous amount of startup capital to start a cannabis business, anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million to $1.5, even $5 million, depending on the vertical that you're in, because this is a highly regulated industry. Sometimes you need to acquire real estate before going for your license, and that's even if you get your license, and then you need to buy this expensive equipment and hire all these people and go through all this training and lots of software, working capital, and on and on and on. There's a lot of money that's needed to start and grow your cannabis business. And as you open up your cannabis business and get started, you need to realize that you have many potential cash producing assets, including real estate, licenses, and that expensive equipment. So you need to be creative, because it's not always about cannabis or the end product to make yourself money. There's other ways to diversify your revenue streams and earn income off of these assets. So you need to ask yourself, who would pay for access to these assets at a premium? For example, licensing. It takes a very long time and it's not a guaranteed process. Maybe you could rent out your license to other people or create joint ventures where they could work under your license for a premium type of fee. Let's talk about an opportunity about real estate and cannabis licenses. So building on that example from earlier, what if you're a licensed operator with a huge floor plan, tens of thousands of feet? And with that building and that large floor plan, you probably have a lot of big overhead costs, things like rent, security, utilities, insurance, licensing fees, legal fees, and on and on and on. So what you need to do is you need to change your mindset from a cost center to a profit center. These things that cost you money every month, how can you turn them into income generating assets? So one opportunity is to partner with other operators under your license, similar to a joint venture deal, and you have these people come in, operate under your license, rent space from you, and the goal is to cover all of those fixed costs that cost you something every month, whether someone's in there or not. So how can you offset that? Now, you cannot sub-license your license, at least in the state of California, but what you can do is create a revenue share agreement and lease terms for the space. And when you do a deal like this, you just need to notify the BCC, the Bureau of Cannabis Control, that there is another non-equity holding partner with financial interest in your license. They go through their live scan and everything's good. And these are the kind of mindset shifts that you need to have, seeing, hey, I'm spending all this money every month. How can I benefit? How can I make money? How can I create opportunities for other people and myself to create a win-win at the end of the day? Now let's walk through a concrete example of renting your cannabis space and your license. Say you have a 10,000 square foot facility. Your goal right now is to find 3 or 4 tenants to cover all of your overhead operating costs so that you don't have to worry about making all those bills every month. Someone can help offset those for you. So the process to thinking about how to do this is first divide up your space 5 different ways. So we'll just do it evenly. That's 2,000 square foot for each spot. Now you're going to take one of those studios to operate in, so you have 4 to rent out. Now, what you need to do is think about, okay, what are all the overhead costs and add them all up together. Things like licensing, legal, rent, security, utilities, insurance, warehouse managers, manufacturing managers, and any other costs that come to you essentially at a fixed cost. For this sake of example, let's just say that's $24,000 a month, and then you divide that by 4 spaces that you're going to be renting out, and that means that you're going to have to earn $6,000 per space per month to offset all of those expenses so you don't have to cover them, and then you can operate essentially with no overhead costs as an operator of a cannabis business. And for this business, let's just say it's a micro business. So it has manufacturing, cultivation, and distribution licenses attached to it. Sometimes you'll see micro businesses that also have delivery and retail. But for this example, let's just say it's only manufacturing, cultivation, and distribution. Now, what we suggest is not to just give it out at the $6,000 per space per month, but mark it up at least 40, maybe even 100%. So what that brings you to is $8,400 to $12,000 per space per month. And then your next step is to find tenants to fill that space for you so that you don't have to cover those costs. Again, moving from a cost center mindset to a profit center mindset. A lot of these spaces and the things and the equipment that you acquire, it costs you money. So see who would want to take that on, operate their business, and pay a premium for it. So your goal again is to find tenants and fill that space and allow them to operate under your micro biz or whatever. If you have a cultivation only or if you have a manufacturing only license, finding people that value that license and that space, especially in a certain location. Sometimes you find people that, hey, they can go out to the desert or very far away and find space cheaper, but for example, being in downtown LA, close to a lot of people, close to a lot of freeways, not having to drive 4 hours a round trip. That is something people will pay a premium for. So look at what your value is and what your leverage is of why you can mark up 40 to 100%, maybe even 200%. Who knows? You have to see what the sensitivity and the price elasticity is for cannabis businesses in your market. Now, once you've done these quick financials and you realize, okay, well, this is what I need to make, and this is how much I'm going to charge, and this is who I'm going to rent to, or this is what my ideal joint venture partner is, or my revenue share partner, what you need to do is consider a few things to make sure you don't expose yourself to any unnecessary risk. So first, if you have a distribution license or a micro business that has distribution, understand that taxes are your biggest liability. What we would suggest is do not allow others to distribute under your license, because once they start to sell product or deliver product to a dispensary under your license, your liability gets triggered immediately for cannabis excise tax. So any miss or underpaid excise tax payments results in an immediate 50% penalty. And there is no official abatement plan, at least in the state of California with the CDTFA. So as this builds up and builds up, especially for distributors only, you're operating on razor thin margins. So if this tax bill starts to grow and penalties and interest and fees, you could essentially wipe yourself out of business by allowing people to distribute under this license and not knowing how much you're actually having to be on the hook for those taxes. So really be thoughtful about, should you allow people to use your distribution license? We would say only do this if you really, really know this person and can keep good, tight books on them. So leads me to my next point is, if you're going to go ahead and rent your space out, allow people to operate under your license, you should centralize accounting and compliance. So the more tenants you have in your building or on your license increases your tax risk exposure and every other exposure for compliance. Things like Metric, the track and trace software in the state of California, it should be managed by one person who can oversee all of the shipping manifests in and out and see, all right, if we're selling $100,000 in distributed goods, what is the estimated excise tax payment we should collect, and put that other tenant who's operating under your license, maybe they're selling 40% of that, make sure that they are given a bill or they have to pay off that excise tax before they go and ship the goods, and then they have to collect that excise tax back from the retailer. It's very, very important. I know we bring up taxes a lot, but this tax is such an important thing because of that 50% penalty. Now, centralizing that accounting, consider having those people work with the same accounting and CPA firm, or at least have those tenants provide a monthly P&L so you know and can tell how much product they're selling under your license in the nominal dollar amount, so you can again plan for that excise tax. Now, when we were going through this, your wheels are probably turning like, man, I wish this opportunity would have been here when I was going through the licensing process. I probably wouldn't have gone and got this whole license and this entire building and all these other things. And yes, it is a very attractive opportunity and it brings a lot of people in. So there's a lot of people that are tire kickers. They come in, they want to just kind of see the building, get a feel for it, maybe get some pictures. And some people are very serious, but again, there's a lot of people that are tire kickers. So one thing to reduce the amount of time it takes to bring on a new tenant is ask for proof of funds immediately. Things like that can be a bank account with a screenshot that shows that they have $500,000 or $1 million in liquid capital so that you know that they can make the bill every month. Having to find a new tenant is a very difficult task, so ask for proof of funds. Always do background checks because they're going to have to go on the license, so if they don't pass live scan, then they will not be able to be on the license and the deal will fall through. And then as you go through the process, ask them for references, people that they do business with, people in the past or people currently that they do business with. So you can see, hey, is this person really, a good person to go into business with? Are they truthful? Are they honest? Do they negotiate in good faith? Because the ability to pay and the ability to be a good person is very, very important. So be able to be choosy when you're choosing your tenants. Give yourself that space because what you have is very desirable. Be very, very thoughtful about who you bring on as your tenants. And now that brings me to my fourth point. If you find tenants that you cannot really bring into the building, but they have almost enough money or they have some money where they can kind of make some moves, try to find unique deals for these non-qualifying tenants. Things like white labeling. If you're a manufacturer and someone wants to come in and do their own manufacturing, but they just don't have enough money in the working capital to rent the whole entire space from you and bring their machine in, then maybe you find a white label deal and work with them and help them build their brand, and maybe in 6, 8, 18, 24 months, they can move into your building and take over 2,000 square feet. So try to be creative when you're finding these unique deals and these unique type of tenants. So that's how you monetize your real estate and your license. And if you need help with leveraging your cannabis business assets or licenses, then please reach out to GreenGrowth CPAs today by going to greengrowthcpas.com or giving us a call at 800-674-9050. We'd love to help you find creative solutions to increase your cash flow, diversify your revenue streams, and make sure that you're not stressed as a cannabis business operator, not knowing if you're going to be able to make those monthly costs or those monthly bills every 30 days. So again, if you need help with leveraging and building revenue streams from your cannabis business assets, then please reach out to GreenGrowth CPAs by going to greengrowthcpas.com or give us a call at 800-674-9050. Have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.